everyone, this is Brian Hillard, owner and resident marketing guy with Agito Consulting, and you're listening to the resource, How to Create an Attention-Grabbing, Client-Generating, Show-Stopping Elevator Pitch. And you hear about elevator pitches all the time. You know, you have to create an elevator pitch so that when you're talking to people, they understand where you're coming from. And theoretically, where that came from, as I'm sure most of you guys have heard before, is when you're going, if you're in an elevator, somebody comes in, you should be able to describe to them pretty much from the first floor all the way up to the sixth floor what it is that you do. Right? And that makes sense, too. And a lot of times as an entrepreneur, either as a salesperson or just somebody that owns their own business, what we want to be able to do is when we're out networking, when we're out talking to people or generating referrals, it is so important for us to be able to have some type of description as to what it is that we do so that people are able to understand where they're coming from. Now, the part of the problem when it comes to an elevator pitch is it falls into one of two categories, right? Either number one, people have this long flowing, long-winded discussion of what they do, right? And that doesn't work. Or they have this kind of short and sweet, you know, I'm a consultant, I'm a real estate agent, I'm a financial advisor type of answer, and that doesn't work either. So what we're going to do is we're going to create an elevator pitch that has you being able to go over there and generate interest in what it is that you're doing and absolutely have people asking you more about what you do. All right? Because that's going to help you develop a network and grow and market your business. The good news is we actually have 3 specific steps that you can do to get this done. And we're obviously going to go over those over the next 20 minutes or so that you can understand how to create this elevator pitch. All right. First step that we need to do when we're creating this elevator pitch is to understand who it is that we are actually targeting. The concept I call this is developing your spheres of influence. Now, a sphere of influence is really simple, okay? A sphere of influence is telling people, being able to create a niche or target market of individuals who are most likely to use your service. Now, when I say most likely, here's what I do not mean. I don't mean people who you think should use your service. I don't mean people who you would like to use your service. What I'm talking about are individuals who are most likely to use whatever service you may have. Now, the way you figure that out is actually pretty easy. What you want to do is take a look at your past business experience. You want to take a look at some of the clients you've worked with in the past. Heck, you might even want to take a look at some prospects that you've engaged the most with. And from there, you want to be able to figure out, okay, how is my service relating to these individuals? How is it that what I'm doing is helping them be able to do whatever it is that they need to do? Now, as an example, one of the things that I say to people is, I help busy entrepreneurs market their business in less than 90 days. Right? You see how I was able to give you a sphere of influence, a target market. Who do I work with? Busy entrepreneurs. And then what do I help them do? Well, obviously get more business. Now, if I had just said to you, I just work with anybody, or gosh, I'll just try to take whatever I can and hopefully, maybe you'll be able to give me a little bit of business, you're kind of thinking to yourself, I don't know about that. But by telling you that I work with busy entrepreneurs, you're able to really get a clear understanding of who I work with. Do I work with corporations? No. Do I work with big businesses? Well, maybe a little bit, but probably not. I work with entrepreneurs and salespeople to help them get more business. Now, notice another thing that I just did. What did I do? Busy entrepreneurs. A friend of mine calls that a vague generality. Right? Actually, it's the other way around. It's a specific generality, right? It is something where you are relatively vague, but you're able to tell them that, and when you say it, it sounds specific. So busy entrepreneurs, right? You're like, oh, I guess that's it. But who wouldn't? It's kind of like successful-minded people. What's that? Right? It's the same type of thing. So don't feel like you have to get bogged down in something where you said, I work with this, and this. Right? Have something that people can understand. Family-oriented business owners is another one. Have something that people can understand and that they can readily identify with. Okay, so first thing you want to do is create your spheres of influence. Now, the second thing you want to do when you're creating an elevator pitch is you want to be able to create what I call a unique selling proposition. We call that a USP for short. A unique selling proposition is very easy. It is simply telling people what you do in a manner that gets them to ask how you do it. Okay, you guys with me on that? It's telling people what you do in a manner that gets them to ask how you do it. One of the biggest problems that we have, I think, in our country here today is a lot of people, from a business perspective, is that a lot of people don't want to come across as being too salesy. Can't be too salesy. We're entrepreneurs, but we can't sell, right? And what happens is they do one of two things. They either hang the shingle out and, we do good customer service and we expect people to come, all right? Or number two is they're kind of that in-your-face traditional person. We've all seen that. Anybody that's bought a car probably has had some type of experience on that, okay? And a lot of people, quite frankly, I think a lot of people know more about what they don't want to be when it comes to sales than what it is that they do want to do ultimately in terms of growing and marketing their business. All right, now, here's a question for you. If I create a situation that makes it so people are asking me about my business and I'm describing it to them, is that salesy? Is that over the top? Well, no, it's not actually. Why? Because they asked a question of me and now I'm just answering the question. So the better question is, how can we create situations that engender the curiosity of that listener to the point where they want to hear about what it is that we do? Okay? And that's where a unique selling proposition comes in. A USP is actually, just so you know, if you think of an elevator pitch, if you kind of think about an elevator pitch as this box here, okay, and maybe it's, 60 seconds or whatever the case may be. I don't know how long it takes to get. Let's just call it 60 seconds. The USP is that first sentence, all right, of that elevator pitch tells people exactly what it is you do in a manner that gets them to ask how you do it. So, what we want to do with this is, it's very simple. A unique selling proposition starts off with, I work with blank, okay, I told you busy entrepreneurs, you can put in whatever sphere of influence you have, to help them blank. All right, so let's do that again. I work with blank to help them blank. Okay, you can say I work with, you can say I specialize in, whatever the case may be, that's what it is that you're doing. All right, now, what you do not do is when you are putting that benefit, and that's what that should be, the I work with or I specialize, and that's the blank, when you get that benefit, it needs to be in the context of something that people can readily identify with. It needs to be something that they can say, that sounds interesting, tell me a little bit more. One of the stories I talk about at a lot of my workshops is the idea that, it's a concept called a true product. Okay, now what I say is, if I had a fleet of aircrafts, fleet of planes, 747s, okay, and tell you, I've got a fleet of airplanes that are stationed in your city, wherever that may be. And I tell you, I've got a fleet of planes that can go from your city to mine, which in this case is Atlanta, okay, Atlanta, Georgia. And I say, they're brand new, they got great pilots, they're shiny, they're safe, we've got affordable rates. Do you want to use my aircraft to come over to Atlanta? And maybe you ask me a few questions. You're trying to get to know me a little bit about where I'm coming from and see what's going on. And then maybe you stop and you say, maybe you do, maybe you don't. Who knows what actually happens? But what if I said this way? What if I said, have you ever been to the city of Atlanta? And you say, well, no, actually I haven't. I said, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. You are missing out. We've got the World of Coke. We've got the new aquarium that they built downtown, and we even got a little Braves baseball. All right, maybe a little Falcon football, depending on the season, where you can come down and take a look at it. I said, do you have kids? He says, yes. I said, oh my gosh, you have to get to the zoo. The kids will love the zoo. So now you're thinking to yourself, all right, well, let me see where this is going. Maybe you ask a few questions. And you say, you know what? We really do like going there. We like the zoo. We like doing all this stuff. It would be a great time to spend some time with the family. And then you would say to me, well, how do you get there? And I say, well, I've got this fleet of aircraft over here that's brand new. It's got a great pilot, safety record's terrific, at affordable rates. Now, the problem that most people have is that when they're marketing their business, they're focusing on the aircraft, okay, the product, instead of the city. And what we want to do is we want to focus on the city. We want to focus on the benefit. They don't care, you don't care about the fact that I have the shiny new aircraft. What you care about is that it can get you here to Atlanta and have you spend some good quality time with your family and friends. The point? Figure out what the true product is of your business, and then we can capture that in your unique selling proposition. So let me give you some examples. I work with a lot of financial advisors, okay? What's their true product? Hint, it's not the 401k. It's not the 529 plan. Okay, if you don't know what that is, don't worry about it, but it's not that. It's not the long-term health insurance. It's not the... What it is different to different people, obviously, but what it is it is being able to have financial independence. It's being able to have the freedom that comes with knowing that you've got yourself covered, protecting you and your loved ones. That's what we're trying to do. All of those wrapper annuity, mutual fund, things, all of it leads to this true product. So what I say to them is, when you're talking with people, you don't say, well, I'm an advisor. You say, well, I work with family-oriented businesses to give them the financial peace of mind they deserve. When you see that? How do you do that? What's coming up next? That's what you're doing. Same thing if you were a real estate agent. You don't say, I'm an agent. Well, what do? I'm an agent. All right? No, you say, I work with first-time home buyers to help them find the home of their dreams. Who do you work with? Well, first-time home buyers. What do? You're tapping into that American dream. Are we helping them find a house? No. We're helping them find the American dream. So you want to figure out what it is that you are doing in terms of the true product that you provide to people, and then incorporate that into that second part of your unique selling proposition. All right, so hopefully that makes sense to everybody. Now, from there, okay, because we're talking about an elevator pitch, right? From there, what you want to be able to do is, that's your first sentence. Now, a lot of times, and I don't know where you guys have gone or anything like that, there is an organization that's called BNI, all right? And what it is, it's real simple. It's a group of like-minded entrepreneurs that meets on a regular basis and just passes referrals amongst each other on a regular basis. Like I said, you can have one real estate agent, one mortgage broker, one dentist, one florist, one this, one that, right? You can only have one business classification is what they call that in the group. Now, the reason I bring that up is because in BNI, what we do is we do what's called a 60-second sales minute. Okay, a 60-second sales minute really is an elevator pitch, right? I mean, like I said before, I don't know exactly how long it takes you to go from the first to the sixth floor, but a 60-second sales minute is what we're going to use as our kind of our elevator pitch model here for a second. So the first sentence we already said, what does that do? It's your unique selling proposition, okay? So for me, I would say right off the bat, hi, my name is Brian Hillard, and I help busy entrepreneurs market their business in less than 90 days. Think of it as a headline of sorts when you're looking into the paper, okay, to get people interested in what you're doing. Then the second sentence is real easy. The second sentence is being able to tell people why that is important. Right? I mean, we know why it's important. You started the business. I know why it's important because I'm doing the business. What we want to figure out is, why should your listeners even care? Now, when you're done, what you should think of to yourself is, well, okay, that sounds great, but who cares? So what you want to do is, if you listen to mine, it's real simple. I say a lot of times people are good at what they're good at, but they might not be so great in letting others know about it. So that answers the question of who cares right off the bat. Now, the third sentence is really simple. The third sentence is simply telling people what it is exactly that you provide to them. All right. Now, this is important, especially for those of you who are in a service-oriented business. Okay. A lot of times, which is probably about 90% of the people listening and watching this, in a service-oriented business, it's not like we're making widgets. Okay. It's not like I can take a look at this red jacket and the green jacket and the yellow jacket and decide of the make and quality and craftsmanship and decide which one I want to do. If I were to say to you, if I were to put 3 CPAs, 1, 2, and 3, in front of you right now, and I told you, you know what? None of these guys are going to get you in jail, okay? They're all going to be able to do your taxes, but there is one, maybe of varying skills. Some are better than others. Which one do you choose? Well, I don't know. You're looking at them, you're trying to figure it out. You're trying to figure out what's going on. You might not even know what it is that they do exactly. I mean, one might give you a report. Another one might be calling you and keeping you in the loop all the time. It doesn't, you don't know. Okay, now, what if I said this, just as a slight tangent for a second? What if I said, all right, see, if you saw in that same room CPA number 1 has his business cards out in front of him, CPA number 2 has his brochures out in front of him, and CPA number 3 has a book that he wrote on tax law. Which one are you going to look at now? Well, you have to at least check out what CPA number 3 has to say. He wrote the book on tax law. My point is that when you have something out there like that, that's called your marketing collateral, okay? When you have something out there, you have enticed the listeners, you have enticed the people who are out there in your audience, your prospects, to come and talk to you. Now, in this way, we did it with a book, and that's one way to do it, and that's fine. Another way to do it is to be able to, with this elevator pitch, tell people exactly what it is that you do, exactly what the deliverable is. Okay, so let me run through mine real quick. So I say, hi, my name is Brian Hillard, and I help busy entrepreneurs market their business in less than 90 days. A lot of times people are good at what they're good at, but not so great at letting others know about it. What I do is create a tight, easy to implement marketing plan that even the busiest of people can use right away. That's about 25 seconds, give or take. Okay? And after hearing that, you know who I work with, what I do, why you should care, and kind of give or take the service and ultimate deliverable that I provide. The point is, we need to create that for you. We need to create something that allows you to be able to see who you work with, what it is that you do with them, why that person should care, and ultimately the deliverable that you, as the service provider, provide. Okay? That, my friend, is going to help you when it comes to getting out. If you're at a BNI, that's fine. If you're at the chamber, that's fine because you get time to talk there. You can be wherever. When you're you can actually be on the elevator. When you're actually out there engaging and talking to people, they walk away and they say, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. How is it that this works? What is it that you do? And now you're talking about your business. Is that being salesy? No. Why? Because you're talking and you're answering a question for them. Now, let's talk about how you can actually integrate your elevator pitch and, in a certain sense, your unique selling proposition into the everyday business, day-to-day stuff, business activities, several ways. Number one, when someone asks what you do, you just give them your USP. Don't get into the whole elevator pitch. See, that's my problem. The term elevator pitch has taken on this almost life of its own, where people think that you just have to be, well, I help busy entrepreneurs talk about, they don't want to hear that. You just give them one sentence, your unique selling proposition. If they give you a pause or a this or a, that sounds interesting, then you're engaging and talking to them more. If you find out that they're not doing that, or it feels like, maybe that's not what it is, then you don't do it. If you find that happens a lot, then you're networking in the wrong place. Separate discussion, just so you know. Now, you can do it in networking when you're talking to them and somebody asks, so what do you do? You can also do it when you're asking for a referral, right? I mean, that's something that you get all the time. You go personally, and this is an entirely separate discussion, okay? But when you're networking, you want to get people to a point where you're creating a visible identity. I mentioned that in my book on Networking Like a Pro. You want to be able to create a visible identity where you're asking questions and engaging this person in a dialogue. From there, you want to get to a point where you can then say, all right, I know this person. I can take the card back to the office with me, and then I can say I'm going to send them an email or shoot them a call, or I'd send an email, and let them know I'd like to get together for a coffee connection. All right, that's where the heavy lifting gets done. The point to all of this is it's during that coffee connection when you're getting to know this person that you're asking for a referral. All right, that's, like I said, a whole separate discussion. My point is that's the second place you can use your unique selling proposition. Third place you can use is something a lot of people don't really think about. Let me back up for a second. Part of my philosophy when it comes to marketing is the idea that there are 12 different techniques or ways to market your business. Okay? You've got networking, referrals, direct mail, online marketing, trade shows, all kinds of things, 12, to get the word out about what you do. The key is to find the 3 or 4 or even 5 that work for you and create a marketing plan. That's called a marketing plan. All right? Now, what we can do here, this component is called online marketing. And that's not necessarily SEO, search engine optimization. It's just things that are related to your website. So you can put your unique selling proposition on your homepage. Okay? One of the things that we're doing, I'm working with a great company out in the Athens area, CVP Marketing, is the idea of how to create a website and actually put that, actual title, your USP, on there, right? Put it on so the first thing people see, bang, is what the heck you do. And if you really play your cards right, you're able to go in there and you can have those words hyperlinked to different parts of your site. Another place you can do, and people don't think about this, is on your email signature. right? You can have it. I do it. Now, it doesn't have to be your USP exactly, just so you know. So it doesn't have to be, I help. You don't have to get into that. But what you can do, I like this, is you can use a PS. So I have, on mine, it might say Brian Hillard, owner and resident marketing guy. And then I have a PS. And you know what it says? It says, remember, you can have the best product or service in the world, but if no one knows about it, then nothing else matters. Right? And I ran into that trying to do a few other things. I knew I had something there. That's something just kind of come into. I knew I had something there when I was talking with a person on the phone, and a person I hadn't talked to before. And she says, it's just like you said, Brian. You can have the best product or service in the world, but if no one else knows about it, nothing else matters. And I said, okay, that's a winner. Because I'm thinking to myself, I never talked to this woman in my entire life. And if she's quoting something that came from the bottom of my email, we think we've got a winner. Okay? So that's the 3 places that you can use it. Networking, referrals, and online marketing when you're going out there. You can use it if you're doing a direct mail piece, right? You incorporate that on there. You can use it, we talked about online marketing on your website, but what you're trying to do is you're trying to create an opportunity where people want to learn more. We live in a society that is overstimulated, overworked, and overstressed. And as a result of that, we as the entrepreneur, we have to create a situation that they want to learn more about. We try to throw it down their throat. They don't understand where we're coming from, and then they say we're the bad guys. You give it to them in an area that makes them want to ask more, you look like a hero. Okay? If you have any questions, you can certainly call my office. We're located in Atlanta, Georgia. That's Agito Consulting. The phone number is area code 678-313-5601. You'll be patched into the lovely Tricia Alcock, who is my office manager. Treat her nicely, okay? You can also email info@agitoconsulting.com. That's AGITO consulting.com. But my name again is Brian Hillard, saying so long, take care, and thank you for your time.